How to organize your life for maximum efficiency. Ever feel like you are running fast, but getting nowhere? You are not alone. The modern world is noisy, fast, and full of distractions. But efficiency is not about working harder until you burn out. It is about working smarter. It is about clearing the physical and mental clutter so you can focus on what truly matters. In this book, we will explore simple and practical steps to organize your space, your mind, and your time. Let us get started. Before we begin, I have a simple question for you. What is the one everyday item you seem to misplace the most often? Please drop your answer in the comment section below, because it is always helpful to see that we all struggle with similar challenges. Chapter 1. The hidden cost of physical clutter. Your physical environment directly controls your mental focus. Most people think of a messy room as just a visual problem. They believe that a cluttered desk or a disorganized house is simply a matter of bad habits or laziness, but science tells us a very different story. The truth is that your physical environment is the foundation of your daily efficiency. When your space is chaotic, your mind becomes chaotic. When your space is clear, your mind becomes clear. We often underestimate how much energy our brains spend just processing the objects around us. Every single item in your field of vision demands a tiny fraction of your attention. When you multiply that tiny fraction by hundreds of items scattered across your home or office, you create a massive drain on your mental energy. Let us start by looking at a real fact that might shock you. A recent study shows that the average person spends about 2.5 days every single year just looking for misplaced items. Think about that for a moment. That is 60 hours of your precious life gone every year. You spend those hours searching for lost keys, wandering around looking for your phone, or trying to find that one important document buried under a pile of mail. That is precious time you can never get back. Imagine what you could do with an extra 60 hours every year. You could read several books. You could spend quality time with your family. You could start a new hobby. Instead, that time is stolen by physical clutter. The hidden cost of physical clutter is not just the aesthetic mess. The real cost is your time, your focus, and your peace of mind. To understand why this happens, we have to look at the science of mess. Researchers from the Princeton University Neuroscience Institute conducted a fascinating study on visual clutter. They wanted to know exactly what happens to the human brain when it is surrounded by too many objects. They discovered that visual clutter actively competes for your attention. When you have a messy desk or a disorganized room, those physical objects constantly fight for your brain to notice them. Even if you think you are ignoring the mess, your brain is still processing it. The researchers found that this visual chaos tires out your cognitive functions over time. It creates a mental traffic jam. Your brain has to work incredibly hard to filter out the useless information just so you can focus on a single task. This is why working in a messy room makes you feel tired, irritable, and overwhelmed. Your brain is literally running a marathon just to ignore the clutter around you. Furthermore, clutter triggers a physiological stress response. When you are surrounded by unfinished business, like piles of laundry or stacks of unopened mail, your body reacts. Studies have shown that people who describe their homes as cluttered have higher levels of cortisol, which is the primary stress hormone. Your body stays in a low-level state of alert. You might not even realize it is happening, but that underlying tension drains your motivation. You sit down to work, but you feel heavy. You try to relax on the couch, but you feel anxious. This happens because your physical environment is sending a continuous signal of panic to your nervous system. The solution to this problem is not to build a museum. You do not need a perfect home. You do not need an empty desk. You just need clear workspaces and simple systems. Organization is not about perfection. It is about creating an environment that supports your goals instead of fighting against them. You must stop relying on motivation to clean your space and start relying on easy and practical rules. You have the power to take control of your environment today. You do not need special talents to be organized. You just need to learn the how. Let us dive deep into the actionable steps. The most powerful tool for organizing your physical space is a concept called the Ohio Rule. Ohio stands for Only Handle It Once. This simple rule will completely transform the way you manage your daily life. The Ohio Rule is designed to eliminate the habit of delaying small decisions. Most physical clutter is just a delayed decision. When you bring the mail inside and drop it on the kitchen counter, you are delaying a decision. When you take off your jacket and throw it on a chair, instead of hanging it up, you are delaying a decision. These tiny delayed decisions pile up until they become a mountain of clutter. The Ohio Rule forces you to make a decision immediately. Only handle it once. When you walk through the front door with the mail, do not set it down on the counter. Handle it once. Open the letters right there. Throw the junk mail directly into the recycling bin. Put the important bills in their designated folder. You have handled the mail once, and it will never become clutter. When you take off your coat, do not throw it on the back of a chair. Walk the extra 10 steps to the closet and put it on a hanger. You have handled it once. When you finish drinking a cup of coffee, do not leave the mug on your desk. Take it to the kitchen, wash it, or put it in the dishwasher immediately. You have handled it once. Applying the Ohio Rule takes practice, but it is incredibly empowering. It stops clutter from forming in the first place. You will be amazed at how much time you save when you stop picking up the same object 3 or 4 times before finally putting it away. Let us apply this rule to your bedroom. You wake up in the morning and change your clothes. Do not leave your pajamas on the bed. Put them in the laundry basket or fold them in the drawer. Only handle them once. Later in the evening, when you take off your work clothes, make an immediate decision. Are they clean enough to wear again? If yes, hang them up. Are they dirty? If yes, put them in the laundry basket. Never drop them on the floor. The floor is not a storage unit. By making these small and instant decisions, you completely eliminate the need for massive weekend cleaning sessions. Your room stays permanently tidy because you refuse to delay small actions. Let us talk about another crucial action step. The 5-minute daily tidy. Even with the Ohio Rule, life gets busy. Sometimes things get out of place. That is completely normal. The key to maximum efficiency is not preventing every single mess. The key is preventing the mess from accumulating. You can achieve this by dedicating just 5 minutes at the end of every single day to reset your physical space. Set a timer on your phone for 5 minutes. During these 5 minutes, you are not doing deep cleaning. You are not scrubbing floors or organizing closets. You are simply returning objects to their proper homes. Walk through your living room and pick up the remote controls, the magazines and the stray coffee cups. Fluff the pillows and fold the blankets. Then move to your workspace. Clear away any loose papers. Put your pens back in their cup. Push your chair in. Wipe the surface of your desk. By spending just 5 minutes clearing the visual field, you are doing your future self a massive favor. When you wake up the next morning and walk into a tidy living room, your brain feels calm. When you sit down at a clear desk, your brain is ready to focus. You do not have to waste your morning energy dealing with yesterday's mess. You start the day fresh, powerful, and ready to conquer your goals. You must view this 5-minute tidy as an investment in your mental health. It is a daily ritual of self-respect. You are telling yourself that your time and your focus are valuable. You deserve to work in an environment that inspires you. You deserve to wake up in a home that feels like a sanctuary, not a storage locker. Now we need to address the deep root of physical clutter. To truly master your environment, you must change your relationship with your possessions. Many of us hold on to things we do not need because we are afraid. We are afraid we might need it someday. We are afraid of wasting money. We are afraid of losing a memory. But you must understand that objects are just objects. They are not memories. They are not security. If an object is not actively serving a purpose in your life right now, it is draining your energy. Take a look around your living space. Look at the items sitting on your shelves and hiding in your cabinets. Ask yourself a very simple question. Does this item help me live the life I want to live today? If the answer is no, you must let it go. You do not need to keep that broken blender you have not used in 3 years. You do not need to keep the stack of old magazines you are never going to read again. You do not need to keep clothes that do not fit you just because they might fit you 5 years from now. Letting go of things is an incredibly liberating experience. Every time you throw away trash, donate old clothes, or clear a cluttered shelf, you are literally making room for new energy to enter your life. You are taking back control. You are telling the universe that you value your peace of mind more than you value old objects. Do not try to clear your entire house in one day. That will only cause more stress. Instead, use the power of small steps. Start with one small area today. Choose one single drawer in your kitchen or one single shelf in your bedroom. Empty everything out of that drawer. Wipe it clean. Then, only put back the items that you truly use and need. Throw away the garbage. Donate the rest. Notice how light and satisfied you feel when you open that perfectly organized drawer. Let that positive feeling motivate you to tackle another drawer tomorrow. Keep moving forward, one small space at a time. Within a few weeks, your entire environment will completely transform. Organization is a skill. It is a habit you build over time. It is not an innate talent that only lucky people possess. You can learn this. You can master this. You have the strength and the capability to take charge of your life right now. Do not wait for a burst of motivation. Motivation is temporary. Action creates permanent results. Start acting like the organized, efficient person you want to become. Let us review the core principles of conquering physical clutter. First, recognize that visual clutter is mental clutter. Every item out of place is stealing your energy and increasing your stress. Second, stop losing hours of your life searching for misplaced items. Give every single object a specific home. Keys go in the bowl by the door. Important papers go in the blue folder. When everything has a home, you never have to search again. Third, practice the Ohio rule every single day. Only handle it once. Stop delaying small decisions. Put things away immediately. Fourth, commit to the 5-minute daily tidy. Reset your space every evening so you can wake up to a clear and focused environment. Finally, be ruthless about letting go of things you do not need. Protect your physical space fiercely. When you implement these simple actions, the results will feel like magic. You will suddenly find that you have more free time. You will notice that your anxiety levels drop. You will sit down to work and find that your concentration is sharper than ever before. You will feel a profound sense of pride in your surroundings. Your home will become a place of rest, and your workspace will become a place of immense productivity. Remember that the goal is progress, not perfection. There will be days when life gets chaotic and your desk gets messy. Do not beat yourself up. Do not let one messy day ruin your momentum. Simply take a deep breath, set your timer for 5 minutes, and start putting things back in their proper homes. You are completely capable of maintaining this system. You are building a foundation for maximum efficiency. By clearing the physical clutter, you are clearing the runway for your massive success. You are removing the friction that has been holding you back. This is your time to step up. Take a look around your room right now. Find one thing you can put away immediately. Just one thing. Pick it up and put it in its proper place. That is your first victory. That is the beginning of your new, highly efficient life. Keep taking those small steps. Keep showing up for yourself. You are doing incredible work, and your future self will thank you for the effort you put in today. Let us continue building your success. Let us move forward with absolute confidence. The physical space is just the beginning. Once your environment is clear, your mind is ready to expand. You are ready to tackle bigger challenges and achieve greater goals. You have taken the first crucial step toward organizing your life for maximum efficiency. Keep this momentum alive. Keep your vision clear. Keep your workspace clean. You have everything it takes to win. Let this simple truth guide you every day. Clear space equals a clear mind. A clear mind equals unstoppable focus. Unstoppable focus equals maximum efficiency. You are unstoppable. You are powerful. You are ready for greatness. Every single time you practice the Ohio rule, you are casting a vote for the person you wish to become. You are telling your brain that you are a person of action. You are a person who finishes what they start. You do not leave things halfway done. This shift in identity is profound. When you see yourself as a decisive and organized person, everything else in your life begins to align with that vision. You will start handling your relationships better. You will start managing your finances more efficiently. You will handle your health with more care. It all starts with the simple act of putting your keys in the right place. It all starts with handling your mail only once. Think about the successful people you admire. They do not spend their mornings frantically searching for their wallet. They do not work on desks covered in old coffee cups and random papers. They protect their environment because they know their environment protects their focus. You can have that exact same level of focus. You just have to build the system. Systems never fail you when motivation runs out. Systems carry you through the tired days. Systems carry you through the stressful weeks. The rules we discussed today are your new system. Embrace them. Practice them until they become completely automatic. Imagine waking up exactly 1 week from today. You walk into your kitchen and the counters are completely clear. You walk into your living room and the floor is spotless. You sit at your desk and the only thing in front of you is the one task you need to complete. Your breathing is slow, your heart rate is calm, your mind is incredibly sharp. This is not a dream. This is a very achievable reality. You just need to put in the 5 minutes of effort tonight. You just need to make the immediate decisions today. The hidden cost of physical clutter has been stealing your potential for far too long. It is time to stop paying that cost. It is time to reclaim your space, your time, and your power. Keep going. You are doing beautifully. Let us prepare for the next step in organizing your life. Chapter 2. Closing your mental tabs. We have mastered the physical space. Now we must master the internal space. Your brain is a brilliant machine. It is designed to solve complex problems. It is designed to create beautiful art. It is designed to imagine the future. However, your brain is not designed to be a storage locker. When you try to remember every single task, every single email, and every single grocery item, you are misusing your mental energy. You are treating your mind like a computer with too many web browser tabs open. Eventually the computer slows down, the cooling fan starts spinning loudly, the battery drains. This is exactly what happens to your body and your mind when you hold on to too much mental clutter. You feel exhausted, you feel anxious. You cannot focus on the present moment because a tiny part of your brain is always repeating a to-do list. Let me tell you a story about a busy restaurant in the 1920s. A Russian psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik was sitting in a bustling cafe in Vienna. She was studying at the University of Berlin under a famous professor named Kurt Lewin. While sitting in the cafe, she noticed something extraordinary about the waiters. These waiters were managing huge tables of people. They were taking complex food and drink orders without writing a single word down on paper. They remembered exactly who ordered the fish, who wanted extra potatoes, and who asked for their drink without ice. Their memory seemed superhuman. However, Bloomer Zeigarnik noticed a strange twist. The exact moment the customers paid their bill and left the restaurant, the waiters completely forgot the orders. If Bloomer asked a waiter what a specific table had eaten 5 minutes after they paid, the waiter had absolutely no idea. Their superhuman memory had vanished. Bloomer Zeigarnik realized that the waiters were not relying on permanent memory. They were holding on to the information only because the task was unfinished. The unpaid bill created a mental loop. Once the bill was paid, the loop closed and the brain deleted the information to make room for the next table. She took this observation back to her laboratory and conducted a series of scientific experiments. She gave participants various puzzles and tasks to complete, such as assembling boxes. Sometimes she let them finish the task. Other times she deliberately interrupted them before they could finish. When she later asked the participants to recall the tasks, the results were shocking. People remembered the interrupted, unfinished tasks 90% better than the tasks they were allowed to complete. This psychological phenomenon is now known globally as the Zeigarnik Effect. The Zeigarnik Effect proves a fundamental human truth. Our brains are hardwired to remember and fixate on incomplete or interrupted tasks far more than completed ones. When you leave a task unfinished, it creates a state of psychological tension. Kurt Lewin called this psychic tension. This tension provides you with the mental energy to return to the task. But in our modern world, this helpful survival mechanism has become a massive source of stress. We are surrounded by unfinished tasks, unanswered text messages, unfinished projects at work, chores we promised to do, books we started reading but never finished. Every single one of these unfinished items creates a tiny bit of psychic tension. Multiply that tension by 100 and you have the recipe for chronic anxiety. This is why you lie in bed at night, unable to sleep, thinking about an email you forgot to send. Your subconscious mind is signaling to your conscious mind that you have unfinished business. Your brain is literally refusing to let you relax until the loop is closed. The Zeigarnik Effect ensures that intrusive thoughts will pop into your head right when you are moving on to something else. Your brain believes it is helping you by reminding you of your unfinished business, but instead it is stealing your joy and destroying your efficiency. We must find a way to close these mental loops. We must learn how to close the tabs in your brain so you can regain your cognitive processing power. The answer is not to work 24 hours a day to finish every single task. That is impossible. There will always be more work to do. The answer is to trick your brain into feeling like the loop is handled. You must transfer the tension from your internal memory to an external system. This brings us to one of the most powerful and scientifically backed productivity tools in the world. The tool is called the brain dump. A brain dump is the act of comprehensively writing down every single thought, worry, and task occupying your mind without filtering, organizing, or judging what comes out. You are simply emptying your mental pockets onto a piece of paper. When you write a task down on paper, your brain stops spending energy trying to hold on to it. Psychologists refer to this process as cognitive offloading. You are moving the heavy lifting from your working memory to a physical notebook. Once the thought is on paper, your subconscious mind finally relaxes. The psychic tension vanishes. Your brain says, "Okay, the information is safe now. I do not need to keep reminding you about it." The scientific benefits of the brain dump are remarkable. A 2001 study by researchers Klein and Bowles found that participants who engaged in expressive writing about their stressors showed significant improvements in their working memory capacity. By getting their worries out of their heads, they literally created more cognitive space for problem solving and creativity. Furthermore, research has shown that writing down a specific to-do list before bed helped people fall asleep 9 minutes faster, while also lowering cortisol levels. This is because the brain dump relieves the Zeigarnik effect right before you try to rest. You are actively telling your brain that the unfinished tasks are recorded and will be handled tomorrow. Your breathing slows down. You can finally rest. Now let us focus on exactly how to perform a highly effective brain dump. This is the actionable part of the chapter. You cannot just think about doing a brain dump. You must physically do it. I want you to make this a weekly habit. Many highly successful people do this every single Sunday evening to prepare for the week ahead. Others do it every evening before bed to clear their minds for sleep. Choose a time that works best for your lifestyle. First, you need to gather your tools. I highly recommend using a physical pen and a piece of paper. While digital apps are okay, there is a powerful neurological connection between the hand and the brain. The physical act of writing slows your thoughts down and forces you to process them more deeply. So grab a blank notebook or a clean sheet of paper. Find a quiet place where you will not be interrupted for at least 15 minutes. Silence your phone and put it in another room. You need complete focus for this exercise. Second, you will set a timer. Give yourself between 10 and 15 minutes. Setting a time limit is crucial because it prevents you from overthinking. A brain dump is not a perfectionist exercise. It is a messy, fast, and free-flowing process. You want to outrun your inner critic. Third, you begin to write. Start writing down absolutely everything that is floating around in your head. Do not organize the list. Do not categorize the items. Just write. Write down the big projects at work. Write down the email you need to send to your boss. Write down that you need to buy milk and eggs. Write down that you need to schedule a dentist appointment. Write down that you are worried about your car making a strange noise. Write down that you want to start learning Spanish. Write down that you need to call your mother. Every single open loop must go on the paper. Do not stop writing until the timer goes off. If your mind goes blank, just write the words "I am thinking" until a new thought arrives. Dig deep into the corners of your brain. What have you been procrastinating on? What is making you feel guilty? What small chore is annoying you every time you walk into the kitchen? Put it all on the paper. Empty the entire contents of your mind. By the time the 15 minutes are over, you might have a list of 40 or 50 random items. It will look like complete chaos on the page, but internally, you will feel an immediate sense of relief. You will feel a physical lightness in your chest. The mental noise will stop. You have successfully offloaded your cognitive burden. You have closed the mental tabs. Now that the thoughts are outside of your head, you can look at them objectively. When thoughts are stuck in your mind, they feel massive and terrifying. Anxiety thrives on uncertainty. Anxiety loves the feeling that there is too much to handle. But when you look at those same worries written on a piece of paper, they lose their power. You realize that you are not facing an unsolvable crisis. You are just facing a list of chores and tasks. The enemy of anxiety is specificity. Once you make your worries specific by writing them down, you can start to solve them. This brings us to the next crucial step. You must process the brain dump. You cannot just leave the chaotic list on your desk and walk away. You need to organize the chaos into a structured plan. You will do this by applying a very simple sorting method. You are going to look at every single item on your list and put it into one of 4 categories. Do it, defer it, delegate it, or drop it. Let us explore these 4 categories. The first category is do it. These are tasks that take less than 2 minutes to complete. If you wrote down, reply to John about the meeting, and that reply will only take 1 minute, do not schedule it for later. Do it immediately right now. If you wrote down, pay the water bill, and it takes 2 minutes online, do it right now. By instantly knocking out these tiny tasks, you build incredible momentum and you permanently close those open loops. The second category is defer it. These are tasks that are important but will take more time, or they cannot be done right now. For these items, you must immediately schedule them on your calendar or add them to an organized to-do list for a specific day. If you write the quarterly report, you cannot do that in 2 minutes, so you defer it. You look at your calendar and you block out 2 hours on Tuesday morning specifically for writing the report. The key here is that you have made a concrete decision about when the task will happen. Your brain accepts this decision and stops worrying about it. The third category is delegate it. You must ask yourself a hard question. Am I the only person who can do this task? Many times, we take on burdens that do not belong to us. We try to be superheroes. If you wrote down clean the garage, can you hire someone to do it? Or can you ask your teenagers to help? If you wrote down format the spreadsheet, can you assign that to an assistant or a team member? Delegation is a superpower of efficient people. You must let go of the need to control everything. Pass the task to someone else and free up your precious time for high-level thinking. The fourth category is drop it. This is the most liberating category of all. As you look at your chaotic brain dump list, you will inevitably find items that simply do not matter. These are the things you think you should do, but they have no real impact on your life. Maybe you wrote down, learn how to bake sourdough bread because you saw it on social media, but you actually hate baking. Cross it off the list. Drop it entirely. Give yourself permission to let go of false obligations. Your time is your most valuable resource. Do not waste it on tasks that do not align with your true goals. By crossing items off the list, you are ruthlessly protecting your energy. Once you have processed the entire brain dump, you will have a clear, actionable system. You will know exactly what you're doing today, what you're doing next week, and what you're never doing again. The mental fog will completely lift. You have taken control of your internal environment. You have transformed overwhelming anxiety into a precise, step-by-step action plan. Now, I want to address a very common problem. Even after you do a brain dump and organize your tasks, you might still struggle to actually start working. You might stare at your beautifully organized calendar and feel paralyzed. Task paralysis is a real challenge. It happens when your brain perceives the scheduled task as too difficult, too boring, or too painful. Your brain wants to protect you from discomfort, so it urges you to procrastinate. You suddenly feel the urge to check social media or reorganize your pencil cup. We can use the Zeigarnik Effect to cure task paralysis. Remember that the Zeigarnik Effect proves that humans crave completion once a task is started. The hardest part of any task is simply starting it. Once you initiate the action, your brain registers an open loop. The cognitive itch begins. The urge to simply finish what you started will overpower the initial dread. We can weaponize this psychological quirk to destroy procrastination. The technique is called the 5-minute fiction. It is a very simple mind trick. When you are feeling overwhelming resistance toward a task, you are going to lie to your own brain. Let us say you need to study for a difficult exam and you have been avoiding it all day. You tell yourself, I am only going to study for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I will stop and do something fun. You are lowering the barrier to entry so much that your brain cannot possibly object. Anyone can do 5 minutes of work. It sounds easy. It sounds painless. So you sit down, you open the textbook, and you read the first paragraph. You set up the first equation. You write the first sentence of your essay. You fully intend to stop after 5 minutes. But something magical happens at the 4-minute mark. You have opened the loop. The Zeigarnik Effect kicks in. Your brain becomes engaged in the material. The friction of starting has completely vanished. When the 5-minute timer goes off, 90% of the time, you will choose to keep going. You will say to yourself, well, I am already here, I might as well finish this page. Then the page turns into a chapter. The chapter turns into 2 hours of deep, focused work. You have successfully tricked yourself into massive momentum. You must remember that motivation does not create action. Action creates motivation. Most people wait around for inspiration to strike before they start working. They wait to feel perfectly rested. They wait for the perfect mood. They wait for the perfect weather. Those people will wait forever. The highly efficient person knows that action comes first. You take a tiny 5-minute step forward, and the motivation follows right behind it. You manufacture your own momentum. You build your own fire. Let us look at a real-world example of how powerful closing mental tabs can be. Consider a manager named John. John used to walk into his office every morning with his brain spinning. He was trying to remember 20 different client requests, 5 employee evaluations, and his own personal goals. He spent the first 3 hours of his day jumping frantically between emails, phone calls, and sudden crises. By noon, John was exhausted, angry, and completely burnt out. He felt like he was working incredibly hard, but he was getting nothing important done. His mental tabs were all open, crashing his cognitive system. Then John discovered the power of the brain dump and the 5-minute fiction. He completely changed his routine. At the end of every single workday, before he left the office, John took out a physical notebook. He spent 10 minutes writing down every single thought in his head. He dumped out all the unread emails, the stressful conversations, and the ideas for tomorrow. He emptied his mental pockets, then he processed the list. He scheduled the important tasks for the next day. He dropped the useless worries. He closed the notebook and left it on his desk. By doing this, John closed the mental loop before he even walked out the door. When he went home to his family, he was completely present. He was not distracted by work because his brain knew the work was safely stored on paper. His sleep improved dramatically. The next morning, John walked into his office calm and focused. He did not need to remember what to do. He just opened his notebook and looked at his schedule. When he faced a difficult report, he used the 5-minute fiction. He told himself he would only write for 5 minutes. Within minutes, he was in a state of deep flow. John doubled his productivity while simultaneously cutting his stress levels in half. He did not work longer hours. He simply worked smarter by managing his mental tabs. You have the exact same capability as John. You are not a victim of your runaway thoughts. You are the master of your own mind. You simply lack the correct tools until today. Now you possess the knowledge of cognitive offloading. You understand the psychology of the Zeigarnik Effect. You know how to clear the mental clutter fast and effectively. To maintain this newfound clarity, you must protect your mental space as fiercely as you protect your physical space. Stop treating your brain like a garbage can for random information. We consume so much useless media every single day. We scroll through endless news feeds. We watch dramatic videos that have absolutely nothing to do with our own lives. Every piece of information you consume takes up space in your working memory. If you fill your brain with negativity, gossip, and useless facts, you will have no space left for your goals, your dreams, and your creative ideas. Start practicing an information diet. Be incredibly intentional about what you allow into your mind. When you wake up in the morning, do not immediately grab your phone and open social media. That is the worst possible way to start your day. You are immediately opening 50 random tabs in your brain before you have even had a glass of water. You are letting other people dictate your thoughts. Instead, protect the first hour of your day. Leave your phone on airplane mode. Do your morning routine. Look at your organized to-do list. Focus on your own life first. Control the input, and you will control the output. Your brain is the most powerful supercomputer on the planet. It is capable of learning new languages, building businesses, and creating profound art. But to unlock that potential, you must stop using it as a sticky note. You must stop forcing it to remember your grocery list. Give your brain the freedom to do what it does best. Let it solve problems. Let it dream. Let it build your future. As we reach the conclusion of this chapter, I want you to feel incredibly empowered. You are taking real, actionable steps toward a life of maximum efficiency. You are no longer just running fast. You are running in the right direction. You have cleared the physical clutter. You are now clearing the mental clutter. You are building a rock-solid foundation for massive success. Tonight, I want you to make a promise to yourself. I want you to sit down with a blank piece of paper and a pen. I want you to set a timer for 15 minutes. I want you to perform your very first complete brain dump. Pour every single worry, every single task, and every single lingering thought onto that page. Do not stop until the timer goes off. Feel the immediate relief wash over your body. Feel the tension leave your shoulders. Look at the paper and realize that you are in total control. Organize the chaos using the do it, defer it, delegate it, and drop it method. Schedule your priorities. Cross out the nonsense. When you go to sleep tonight, your mind will be quieter than it has been in years. You will sleep deeply, knowing that your life is documented and handled. You will wake up tomorrow morning with a sense of sharp, undeniable purpose. You are organized. You are efficient. You are completely unstoppable. Keep pushing forward. Keep applying these tools every single day. The compound effect of these small habits will absolutely transform your reality. You are doing fantastic work. The journey continues, and your best days are standing right in front of you. Let us prepare for the next level of ultimate productivity. Chapter 3. The Magic of Habit Stacking. We have successfully cleared the physical clutter from your environment. We have successfully emptied your mental tabs and closed those stressful open loops. You are now standing on a clean, solid foundation. The stage is set for maximum efficiency, but here is the most critical question you will face on your journey. How do you maintain this organization day after day? How do you keep the desk clean? How do you keep the to-do list structured? How do you ensure that you do not slowly slide back into your old chaotic routines when life gets difficult and stressful? Most people believe that the answer to these questions is motivation. They believe that if they just watch enough inspiring videos, read enough quotes, or try hard enough, they will eventually become an organized person. They rely entirely on their own willpower. But relying on willpower to organize your life is a very dangerous strategy. Willpower is not a permanent character trait. It is a biological resource. And just like any other biological resource, it runs out. To truly understand why motivation fails us and why we must build a better system, we have to look deep into the science of human decision-making. In the late 1990s, a brilliant social psychologist named Dr. Roy Baumeister conducted a groundbreaking series of experiments that completely changed the way we understand self-control. He wanted to know exactly how willpower works inside the human brain. To test this, he and his research team brought university students into a laboratory room. The room was intentionally filled with the overwhelming delicious smell of freshly baked chocolate chip cookies. On the table in front of the students were 2 bowls. One bowl was filled with the warm, freshly baked cookies, alongside some rich chocolates. The other bowl was filled with raw, unpeeled radishes. The researchers divided the hungry students into 2 groups. The first group was told they could eat as many of the delicious cookies and chocolates as they wanted, but they were not allowed to touch the radishes. The second group was told they had to eat the raw radishes, and they were strictly forbidden from eating the warm chocolate chip cookies. The researchers then left the room and secretly watched the students through a hidden window. As you might expect, the students in the radish group struggled immensely. They looked longingly at the cookies. Some of them picked up the cookies to smell them before sadly putting them back down and taking a bite of a bitter radish. They had to use a massive amount of internal willpower to resist the temptation of the sweets. The cookie group, on the other hand, happily ate the treats and used 0 willpower. But the experiment was not over. After the food portion was finished, the researchers brought both groups into another room and gave them a puzzle to solve. The students were told it was a test of intelligence. However, the puzzle was actually rigged. It was mathematically impossible to solve. Dr. Baumeister just wanted to see how long each group would try before they finally gave up. The results of this puzzle test were absolutely shocking, and they hold the key to understanding your own daily efficiency. The students who were allowed to eat the cookies worked on the impossible puzzle for an average of 19 minutes. They were patient, energetic, and resilient. But the students in the radish group, the ones who had to use their willpower to resist the cookies, gave up after an average of only 8 minutes. They were frustrated, tired, and easily defeated. By simply forcing the students to resist a plate of cookies, the researchers had completely drained their ability to focus on a difficult task later on. Dr. Baumeister coined a term for this phenomenon. He called it ego depletion. Ego depletion simply means that your willpower is finite. It is like a battery in your smartphone. You wake up in the morning with a battery charged to 100%, but every single time you have to force yourself to do something difficult or force yourself to resist a temptation, you drain that battery. When you force yourself to get out of a warm bed on a cold morning, your battery drops to 95%. When you resist eating a donut in the office break room, your battery drops to 90%. When you force yourself to smile at a rude customer, your battery drops to 80%. This concept is heavily tied to another cognitive bias known as decision fatigue. Decision fatigue means that the more decisions you make throughout the day, the worse your choices become as the day goes on. Every single choice involves a trade-off, and every trade-off uses a small piece of your mental energy. Should I wear the blue shirt or the black shirt? Should I reply to this email now or later? Should I eat a salad or a burger for lunch? We make thousands of these tiny decisions every single day. By the time you get home from work at 6 in the evening, your willpower battery is practically at zero. Your decision-making muscle is completely exhausted. This is exactly why you cannot rely on motivation to keep your life organized. When you get home with a depleted battery, you do not have the willpower left to practice the Ohio rule. You do not have the energy left to do a 15-minute brain dump. You just want to drop your keys on the counter, throw your coat on the floor, and collapse on the couch. Your brain physically cannot handle making another good decision. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You are just experiencing decision fatigue and ego depletion. So if willpower runs out and motivation is temporary, how do highly efficient people stay organized? The answer is profound but very simple. Highly efficient people do not use willpower to stay organized. They use automatic systems. They build habits that require absolutely zero mental energy to execute. When something becomes a true habit, it bypasses the decision-making part of your brain. You do not have to debate whether or not to brush your teeth in the morning. You just do it automatically. It does not drain your willpower battery because it is an established routine. To turn organizational behaviors into automatic routines, we must first dispel a very popular and very damaging myth. You have probably heard the famous saying that it takes 21 days to form a new habit. This idea has been repeated in books and magazines for decades. People believe that if they can just force themselves to do something for 3 weeks, it will magically become effortless. But the 21-day rule is a complete myth. It is not based on rigorous science. When people try to build a habit and it is still difficult on day 22, they feel like failures. They think something is wrong with them, so they quit. Let us look at the real science of habit formation. In 2009, a health psychology researcher named Philippa Lally and her team at University College London conducted a massive and highly detailed study on how habits are actually formed in the real world. The researchers recruited nearly 100 participants and tracked their daily behaviors for 12 straight weeks. The participants chose a simple daily action they wanted to turn into a habit, such as drinking a bottle of water with lunch or running for 15 minutes every evening. The researchers wanted to know exactly how long it takes for a new behavior to reach maximum automaticity. Automaticity is the scientific term for when an action no longer requires conscious thought. The findings from the University College London study completely destroyed the 21-day myth. Philip Alali found that on average, it takes exactly 66 days for a new behavior to become completely automatic. Let me repeat that. It takes an average of 66 days. Furthermore, the researchers found that the time frame actually varied wildly depending on the person and the difficulty of the task. The range was anywhere from 18 days for very simple habits, all the way up to 254 days for more complex routines. This scientific reality is incredibly liberating. If you have been struggling to maintain an organized workspace or a structured schedule, it is not because you lack discipline. It is simply because you have not pushed past the biological timeline required to rewire your brain. Early failure is not a lack of willpower, it is just biology. You must give your brain at least 2 solid months of repetition before you can expect an action to feel truly effortless. The researchers in this study also discovered something incredibly encouraging. They found that missing a single day did not ruin the habit formation process. If a participant forgot to perform their new behavior one day but jumped right back on track the next day, their progress toward automaticity was not destroyed. Consistency is necessary, but absolute perfection is not. You do not have to be flawless. You just have to be persistent. When you mess up, and you inevitably will, simply forgive yourself and start again tomorrow. The biological process will continue. Now that we know the true timeline of 66 days, we need a reliable strategy to carry us across that finish line without burning out our willpower. This brings us to the core strategy of this chapter. It is a wildly successful psychological method known as habit stacking. To understand why habit stacking is the ultimate secret to maximum efficiency, we have to take a quick journey into the neuroscience of your brain. Inside your head right now, there are billions of tiny brain cells called neurons. When you perform an action, a chemical signal fires across a gap between these neurons. This gap is called a synapse. Every single day, your brain engages in a fascinating biological sanitation process called synaptic pruning. The concept of synaptic pruning is simple. Your brain prunes away the synaptic connections that you do not use, and it heavily strengthens the connections that you use frequently. Imagine you are walking through a dense, overgrown forest. The very first time you walk a specific path, it is incredibly difficult. You have to push branches out of the way, step over massive logs, and fight through thick bushes. This is what it is like for your brain when you try a brand new habit. The neural pathway is weak and full of friction. But if you walk that exact same path through the forest every single day for 10 years, what happens? The path becomes a wide, smooth, paved highway. You can walk it blindfolded. This is what happens in your brain with the habits you perform every day. Your brain has strengthened the connections between those specific neurons so much that the action becomes lightning fast and highly efficient. You have dozens of these wide, paved neural highways in your brain right now. You have a very strong neural pathway for waking up and immediately checking your phone. You have a very strong neural pathway for making your morning cup of coffee. You have a very strong pathway for taking a shower, brushing your teeth, and locking your front door. You do these things flawlessly every single day without needing any motivation or willpower. Habit stacking simply means that instead of trying to hack your way through the dense forest to build a brand new path, you just attach your new behavior onto a paved highway that already exists. You use the momentum of an old, strong habit to trigger a new, fragile habit. Behavioral scientists and productivity experts like B.J. Fogg, who created the Tiny Habits program, and James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, have heavily championed this exact method. They proved that linking a new behavior to an old one leverages the deeply ingrained synaptic connections you already possess. The formula for habit stacking is incredibly simple, but undeniably powerful. The formula is, after I complete my current habit, I will immediately complete my new habit. Let us break down exactly how you can use this scientific formula to organize your life for maximum efficiency. The key to a successful habit stack is choosing the right anchor. An anchor is the current established habit that you are going to use as your trigger. A good anchor is something you do every single day without fail. It is an action that is completely non-negotiable in your life. Once you identify your daily anchors, you can start stacking small organizational behaviors on top of them. Let us start with your morning routine. The morning is the most crucial part of the day because it sets the momentum for everything that follows. Most people wake up, stumble into the kitchen, and turn on the coffee maker. Making coffee or tea is a deeply ingrained neural highway. You do it every single day. So, we are going to use the act of making coffee as our first anchor. Your first habit stack formula will be, after I pour my morning cup of coffee, I will immediately write down my top 3 goals for the day. Notice how specific this is. We are not saying, I will organize my life today. That is too vague. We are attaching a very small, highly specific action to a permanent anchor. When you pour the coffee, the smell of the roast and the warmth of the mug serve as a physical cue to your brain. Your brain says, the coffee is poured, which means it is time to write the 3 goals. By keeping a notepad and a pen sitting right next to the coffee machine, you remove all the friction. You do not have to search for paper. You do not have to use any willpower. You pour the coffee, you write the 3 goals, and you instantly close your mental tabs for the morning. You have just completed a massive step toward daily efficiency, and it took less than 60 seconds. Let us build another stack. We talked extensively in Chapter 1 about the hidden cost of physical clutter and the power of the Ohio rule, which means only handle it once. We also discussed the importance of the 5-minute daily tidy, but knowing about the 5-minute tidy is useless if you never actually remember to do it. You need to anchor it to a habit you already perform at the end of your workday. If you work from home, a powerful anchor is shutting down your laptop. You never forget to turn off your computer when the workday is over. So your second habit stack formula will be, after I shut down my work computer, I will immediately spend 2 minutes wiping down the surface of my desk and putting my pens away. Think about the synaptic pruning happening here. Right now, your neural connection for finishing work is probably linked to walking away and leaving a messy desk behind. But by intentionally practicing this new stack, you are wiring the neurons together. Shutting the computer becomes the absolute trigger for cleaning the workspace. After practicing this for the scientific average of 66 days, it will feel completely wrong to leave your desk messy. Your brain will automatically initiate the cleaning process the moment the computer screen goes dark. You are replacing willpower with a permanent biological system. Let us look at another common anchor. Every single day, you walk through your front door when you return home. This is a powerful transition moment. For most people, walking through the door triggers the habit of dropping their keys on the nearest table, kicking off their shoes in the middle of the hallway, and tossing the mail on the kitchen counter. This creates the mountain of physical clutter we discussed earlier. We need to hijack this transition using a habit stack. Your third habit stack formula will be, after I unlock and close my front door, I will immediately hang my keys on the designated hook and put my shoes in the closet. To make this successful, you must manipulate your environment to support the stack. Put a beautiful key hook directly at eye level the moment you walk inside. Place a shoe rack exactly where you naturally want to take your shoes off. You are pairing the inevitable action of walking inside with the immediate action of the Ohio rule. You are only handling your keys once. You're only handling your shoes once. The existing habit of entering your house seamlessly powers the new habit of staying organized. The magic of habit stacking is that you can eventually start chaining multiple habits together to create a massive cascade of efficiency. Once a small stack becomes automatic, you can add another link to the chain. Let us return to the morning routine. You have successfully mastered the coffee and goals stack. Now you can expand it. The expanded chain looks like this. After I pour my morning cup of coffee, I will write down my top 3 goals for the day. After I write down my top 3 goals, I will immediately put my phone on silent and place it in another room. After I place my phone in another room, I will immediately work on my most important goal for 45 minutes. You have just designed a world-class productivity system that relies entirely on triggers instead of motivation. You do not have to psych yourself up to do 45 minutes of deep work. You just have to pour a cup of coffee. The coffee triggers the goals trigger the phone isolation, and the phone isolation triggers the deep work. One small domino knocks down the next, and before you know it, you have accomplished more by 10 in the morning than most people accomplish in an entire week. This method works for every area of your personal and professional life. If you want to read more educational books to improve your skills, do not just hope you will find the time. Stack it. After I get into bed at night, I will read exactly 2 pages of my book, just 2 pages. Do not commit to reading a whole chapter because that requires too much willpower when you are tired. Commit to 2 pages. The act of pulling the blanket over your legs is the anchor. Reading the 2 pages is the new habit. And thanks to the Zeigarnik Effect we learned about earlier, once you start reading those 2 pages, you will often find yourself reading 10 or 20 pages because you have broken the friction of getting started. If you want to stay physically energized and prevent the afternoon slump that destroys your work efficiency, stack a health habit. After I finish eating my lunch, I will immediately walk outside for exactly 5 minutes. The act of finishing your meal is the anchor. The short walk is the new habit. This resets your circadian rhythm, lowers your stress, and prepares your mind for an efficient afternoon. If you want to maintain control over your finances so financial stress does not ruin your mental clarity, stack it. After I pay my monthly rent or mortgage, I will immediately review my bank statement for 3 minutes. The act of paying the major bill is the anchor. The financial review is the habit. The possibilities are absolutely endless. But to guarantee your success, you must follow a few crucial rules when designing your habit stacks. The first rule is that your anchor must be ultra-specific. You cannot use vague anchors like, when I have free time, I will clean my room. Free time is not a physical action. It is a concept. Your brain cannot attach a neural pathway to a concept. The anchor must be a tangible physical event that happens with absolute certainty. Brushing your teeth, flushing a toilet, turning off an alarm, locking a door, pouring water. These are physical events. The second rule is that the new habit you are trying to build must be incredibly tiny at first. Do not stack a massive, hour-long organizing session onto your morning coffee. Your willpower battery will reject it. The brain prefers small, safe changes. You must shrink the new behavior down until it feels almost ridiculous not to do it. Wiping down the desk takes 2 minutes. Writing 3 goals takes 1 minute. Hanging up your keys takes 5 seconds. Because these actions are so tiny, they require zero ego depletion. They sneak past your brain's natural resistance to hard work. Over the course of the 66-day formation period, these tiny actions will compound into massive structural changes in your life. The third rule is that the anchor and the new habit must match in terms of frequency. If you want to build a habit that you do every single day, You must attach it to an anchor that happens every single day. If you attach a daily habit to an anchor that only happens on Tuesdays, the habit will never reach automaticity. Match daily goals with daily anchors and weekly goals with weekly anchors. For example, if you want to do a massive mental brain dump once a week to plan your schedule, you could stack it like this. After I finish eating dinner on Sunday night, I will sit at the kitchen table and write out my schedule for the week. Sunday dinner is the weekly anchor. The brain dump is the weekly habit. As you embark on this journey of habit stacking, you must become fiercely protective of your self-dialogue. How you speak to yourself during the 66-day learning curve will completely dictate your success. When you try to stack a new habit and you fail, you must not label yourself as disorganized or lazy. Remember Dr. Baumeister's research. You probably just experienced a day with too many decisions, and your ego depletion was too high. You ran out of battery. That is a biological fact, not a moral failure. When you miss a day of your new routine, invoke the famous rule of consistency: never miss twice. Missing one day is just a bump in the road. Missing 2 days in a row is the beginning of a brand new negative habit. If you forget to write your 3 goals after your coffee on Tuesday, do not panic. Do not throw the whole system away. Just tell yourself, I missed today, but I will absolutely not miss twice. Tomorrow morning the stack returns. This gentle but firm self-discipline ensures that you stay on the path toward maximum automaticity. You are actively rewiring the physical structure of your brain. Every single time you execute your habit stack, you are instructing your brain to build a thicker, faster, stronger neural highway. You are literally building the mind of a highly efficient, highly successful person. You are taking the heavy burden of decision-making off of your shoulders and handing it over to your subconscious mind. Think about the incredible freedom this will bring to your life. When your physical space stays clean automatically and your goals are scheduled automatically, you get your energy back. You get your time back. You stop wasting your precious willpower battery on mundane chores and tiny decisions. You can save all of your mental energy for the things that truly matter. You will have the battery power to solve complex problems at work. You will have the battery power to be present and patient with your family. You will have the battery power to pursue your greatest passions and dreams. Motivation is a spark. It is beautiful, bright, and necessary to get the fire started, but a spark burns out in a matter of seconds. Systems are the heavy logs of wood that keep the fire burning all through the cold night. Habit stacking is the absolute best system you can implement. It respects the biological limits of your willpower. It leverages the natural synaptic pruning of your brain, and it provides a clear, actionable roadmap to permanently organize your life. You do not need to read 100 more books on productivity. You do not need to wait until a magical Monday morning to start. You have everything you need right now. You have your daily anchors. You know exactly what small actions will bring you the most clarity. All that is left to do is connect the pieces. I want you to pause and choose your very first habit stack today. Do not choose 5, just choose 1. Identify one strong daily anchor. Identify one tiny organizational habit. Put them together using the formula. After I do my current habit, I will immediately do my new habit. Say it out loud. Commit it to memory. Alter your physical environment to make the new habit as easy as humanly possible. And tomorrow morning, when you hit that anchor, execute the stack. Do it again the next day and the next. Push through the early friction. Keep your eyes firmly set on that average 66-day horizon. Trust the scientific process. Trust your brain's ability to adapt and grow. You are constructing a masterpiece of efficiency, one tiny, stacked habit at a time. The magic of habit stacking is real, and it is entirely in your hands. Let us keep moving forward. You are doing absolutely incredible work. Prepare yourself. because we are now going to tackle the next major pillar of an optimized life. We are going to master the flow of your time. Chapter 4, The Art of Doing Less. Welcome to the fourth phase of your journey toward maximum efficiency. So far, you have cleared your physical environment, you have emptied your mental workspace, you have learned how to build automatic routines that bypass the need for constant motivation. You're now operating from a place of clarity and control. But as you look at your clean desk and your organized list of goals, you might still feel a lingering sense of pressure. You might look at the 24 hours in a day and feel like there is simply not enough time to get everything done. This is the exact moment where most people make a critical mistake. They try to speed up. They try to cram more tasks into every single hour. They believe that the ultimate secret to success is pure volume. They think that doing more things will automatically yield more results. This chapter will prove to you that the exact opposite is true. We are going to explore the art of doing less. We are going to learn how to stop being busy and start being productive. In our modern culture, busyness has become a badge of honor. When you ask a friend how they are doing, the most common answer you will hear is, "I am just so busy right now." People say it with a hint of pride. We have been conditioned to believe that an exhausted person is a successful person. We equate a frantic schedule with importance. If your calendar is packed from morning until night, you must be doing something right. But science and history reveal a very different reality. Being busy is often a form of laziness. It is lazy thinking. It is much easier to run around doing 100 trivial things than it is to sit down and do the one difficult thing that actually matters. True efficiency is not about doing everything fast. True efficiency is about deliberately choosing what not to do. It is about stripping away the non-essential tasks so you can pour all of your energy into the few things that create massive impact. To master the art of doing less, we must first destroy the most dangerous productivity myth of the 21st century. We must talk about multitasking. For decades, job descriptions have demanded excellent multitasking skills. People proudly declare that they can write an email, talk on the phone, and eat lunch, all at the exact same time. They believe their brain is like a powerful computer with multiple processors, capable of running several complex programs simultaneously without slowing down. This belief is a complete illusion. Human beings are biologically incapable of multitasking. When you think you are multitasking, your brain is actually engaging in something called rapid task switching. You are not doing 3 things at once. You are rapidly shifting your attention from the email to the phone call and back to the email. The neuroscience behind this is absolutely fascinating and incredibly important for your daily efficiency. Your brain operates more like a single spotlight than a multi-screen television setup. The prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain responsible for complex thought, problem-solving, and decision-making. Research reveals that this prefrontal cortex has severely limited processing power. It can only hold one primary cognitive task at a time. When you force it to juggle multiple streams of information, you create a state of cognitive overload. Every single time you shift your spotlight of attention from task A to task B, your brain has to perform a complex series of neurological operations. It has to disengage from the rules of the first task, search its memory for the rules of the second task, and then reorient your physical senses to the new information. Scientists refer to this process as the cognitive switching cost. This switching cost might only take a few tenths of a second to occur, which is why you do not consciously notice it. But those tiny fractions of a second add up to a massive penalty over the course of a workday. A famous study by psychologist David Meyer at the University of Michigan demonstrated exactly how destructive this switching cost truly is. The researchers found that shifting back and forth between multiple tasks can reduce your overall productivity by a staggering 40%. Let that number sink in. By trying to do two things at once, you are literally making yourself almost half as efficient as you would be if you just focused on one thing. You are throwing away 40% of your potential simply because you refuse to single task. Furthermore, multitasking completely destroys the quality of your work. Because your brain is constantly reorienting itself, it cannot process information deeply. You become highly prone to errors. When you are writing a report while constantly checking your phone for messages, you are not giving either task your full cognitive power. Studies show that even brief interruptions can increase your error rate by up to 20%. You make silly mistakes. You forget important details. You send emails to the wrong people. Then you have to spend even more time going back and fixing the mistakes you made, which completely defeats the purpose of trying to save time in the first place. The illusion of getting more done is completely shattered by the reality of doing everything poorly. We also have to consider the massive amount of time it takes to recover from an interruption. Many people think that if they pause their work to answer a quick question from a coworker, they can immediately jump right back into their deep work the second the conversation ends. But the brain does not work like a light switch. You cannot instantly turn your deep focus back on. Research indicates that it can take up to 25 minutes to regain your full concentration after a single distraction. Your brain needs time to clear the working memory of the distraction and reload the complex information of your primary project. If you are checking your email every 15 minutes, you are permanently locking yourself out of a state of deep concentration. You are spending your entire day in the shallow waters of distraction, never diving deep enough to find the real treasure. There is another insidious form of this problem called media multitasking. This happens when you engage with multiple streams of media at the same time, such as watching a television show while scrolling through social media on your phone. It feels incredibly normal to most people today. But a landmark study by researchers at Stanford University looked closely at heavy media multitaskers. The researchers assumed that people who constantly juggle media streams would be very good at filtering out irrelevant information. The results were exactly the opposite. The heavy media multitaskers performed significantly worse on tests of memory, task switching, and focus compared to people who do not multitask. The heavy multitaskers were terrible at ignoring distractions. Their brains had literally been trained to crave constant stimulation. The irony is that the people who think they are the best at multitasking are usually the absolute worst at it. To achieve maximum efficiency, you must declare war on multitasking. You must embrace the power of single tasking. Single tasking is the deliberate choice to dedicate all of your cognitive resources to one specific activity until it is completed, or until a designated block of time is over. When you single task, your brain is calm. Your prefrontal cortex is operating exactly as it was designed to operate. You make fewer mistakes. You work significantly faster. And most importantly, you actually enjoy the work more because you are not constantly fighting the anxiety of a divided mind. The first step in doing less is stopping the juggling act. Put the extra balls down, hold one ball in your hands, and give it your absolute best effort. Once you commit to single tasking, the next logical question arises. If I am only going to do one thing at a time, how do I know which thing I should be doing? Out of the 100 tasks on my list, which one deserves my spotlight of attention? This brings us to one of the most powerful mathematical observations in human history. It is a concept that will completely revolutionize the way you view your daily workload. It is called the Pareto principle, also widely known as the 80-20 rule. The story of the Pareto principle begins in the late 19th century in Italy. An Italian economist named Vilfredo Pareto was studying the distribution of wealth and land ownership in his country. While analyzing the data, he discovered a fascinating and highly unequal pattern. He found that approximately 80% of the land in Italy was owned by only 20% of the population. This dramatic imbalance caught his attention. He began to look at other industries and other countries, and he kept finding the exact same ratio. A tiny minority of the input was producing the vast majority of the output. According to legend, Pareto even noticed this phenomenon in his own garden. He observed that roughly 80% of the healthy peas were produced by only 20% of the pea pods. Vilfredo Pareto had discovered a universal law of factor sparsity. The 80-20 rule states that in almost any situation, roughly 80% of the consequences come from exactly 20% of the causes. This principle reveals a fundamental truth about the universe. Things are not evenly distributed. Effort does not equal reward in a one-to-one ratio. Most of what we do matters very little, and a few things matter incredibly much. Let us look at how the Pareto principle shows up in the modern world. In business, it is incredibly common to find that 80% of a company profits come from just 20% of its customers. Alternatively, 80% of customer complaints usually come from just 20% of the difficult clients. In software development, fixing the top 20% of the reported errors usually solves 80% of the system issues. In your personal life, you probably wear 20% of the clothes in your closet for 80% of the time. You probably spend 80% of your social time with just 20% of your friends. The ratio is not always exactly 80-20. Sometimes it is 90-10. Sometimes it is 70-30. The exact numbers do not matter. The vital lesson is the extreme imbalance between input and output. When you apply the Pareto principle to time management, the implications are absolutely staggering. It means that 80% of your true productivity, the results that actually move your life forward, comes from just 20% of the tasks on your to-do list. Let us process what that truly means. If you have 10 tasks to do today, 2 of those tasks are worth more than the other 8 combined. The problem is that most people treat all 10 tasks as if they are equally important. They write them all down on a piece of paper, and they start from the top and work their way down. They spend 8 hours exhausting themselves on the trivial 80%, and they have no energy left for the vital 20%. They end the day feeling incredibly busy, but they have achieved almost no real progress. To organize your life for maximum efficiency, you must become a master at identifying your vital 20%. You must become a ruthless editor of your own life. This requires a shift in your mindset. You have to stop asking, how can I get everything done? You must start asking, which of these tasks actually matter? Which of these tasks will produce the greatest long-term value? Which of these tasks align with my deepest goals? I want you to perform a time inventory. For the next 3 days, write down every single activity you do during your working hours and record how much time it takes. You will quickly begin to see the Pareto principle in action. You will notice that you spend hours answering emails that require no real action. You will notice that you sit in meetings where you do not need to speak. You will notice that you spend 45 minutes formatting a document to make it look pretty, when the actual content only took 10 minutes to write. These are the trivial tasks. These are the things that keep you busy but keep you stuck. Once you have identified your vital 20%, you must protect those tasks with your life. These are your high-impact activities. If you are a writer, your 20% is actually sitting down and writing the book, not designing business cards. If you are a salesperson, your 20% is talking to clients and closing deals, not rearranging the files on your computer. You must dedicate your best energy, your sharpest focus, and your prime hours to these vital tasks. You should tackle them first thing in the morning, when your willpower battery is fully charged. But what do we do with the other 80%? You cannot just ignore all the small details of life indefinitely. You still have to pay the bills. You still have to answer some emails. You still have to do the laundry. The secret is to aggressively minimize the time and energy you spend on the trivial majority. Remember the processing categories we discussed earlier. You must delegate or automate as much of the 80% as humanly possible. If a task does not require your unique genius, find a way to let someone else do it, or use technology to handle it for you. Set up automatic bill pay. Use email templates for common replies. Hire a virtual assistant if you are a business owner. For the trivial tasks that you absolutely must do yourself, you need to apply strict boundaries. Do not let the 80% bleed into the time reserved for the 20%. Group all of your shallow, low-impact tasks together and knock them out in one short burst at the end of the day when your brain is already tired. Give yourself a strict time limit. Tell yourself, I have 30 minutes to answer all of these emails, and whatever does not get answered will have to wait until tomorrow. You will be amazed at how fast you can complete the trivial tasks when you stop treating them like they are the most important things in the world. By applying the 80-20 rule, you are radically reducing the sheer volume of things you are trying to accomplish. You are doing less. But because you are pouring your concentrated energy into the vital few tasks, your results will absolutely skyrocket. You will achieve more in 2 hours of focused, high-impact work than most people achieve in a 40-hour week of busy work. You are replacing volume with value. You are trading motion for true momentum. Now we must address the final and most practical aspect of the art of doing less. You have committed to single tasking. You have identified your vital 20%, but how do you actually structure your day to ensure that you execute these tasks without falling back into the trap of distraction? If you just write your vital tasks on a piece of paper and hope you find the time to do them, you will fail. The modern world is too chaotic. Interruptions will find you. Your phone will ring. Emergencies will arise. To protect your vital work, you need a bulletproof scheduling system. You need to abandon the traditional to-do list and embrace the psychology of time blocking. A traditional to-do list is essentially a guilt trip on a piece of paper. It is a list of demands with no context. It tells you what you need to do, but it completely ignores the reality of time and energy. When you look at a list of 20 items, your brain immediately feels overwhelmed. You experience decision fatigue before you even begin working. You waste precious mental energy trying to decide which task to start first. And because human beings naturally seek the path of least resistance, you will almost always choose to do the easiest, most trivial tasks first, leaving the vital 20% for later. But later never comes. Time blocking solves this problem by moving your tasks off the open-ended list and placing them into specific, non-negotiable slots on your calendar. Think of your daily schedule like a physical container. You only have a limited amount of space inside the container. Time blocking forces you to treat your time like physical puzzle pieces. You assign every single task, including your breaks and your meals, to a specific block of time. From 9 in the morning until 11 in the morning, you block out time for your most important 20% project. From 11 to 11:30, you block out time for emails. From 11:30 to 12, you block out time for a walk outside. The psychological benefits of time blocking are absolutely massive. First, it completely eliminates decision fatigue. When 9 o'clock arrives, you do not have to sit at your desk and debate what you should work on. Your past self has already made the decision for you. All you have to do is execute the plan. You simply look at the calendar and follow the instructions. This preserves a massive amount of willpower for the actual work. You are no longer wasting your cognitive energy on meta-decisions. You are just doing the work. Second, time blocking acts as a powerful defense mechanism against interruptions. When someone asks you if you have a minute to chat at 10 in the morning, you do not just say you are busy. You can look at your calendar and say, I am currently in a focus block for a critical project until 11, but I have open time at 11:30 to discuss this with you. You are setting clear boundaries. You are respecting your own time, which trains other people to respect your time as well. It creates a protective bubble around your most intense work sessions. Third, and perhaps most importantly, time blocking creates the perfect biological environment for achieving the flow state. Flow is a psychological concept pioneered by behavioral researchers. It describes a state of complete immersion and hyperfocus in an activity. When you are in a flow state, the rest of the world seems to fade away. You lose your sense of time passing. You are performing at the absolute peak of your cognitive abilities. A massive study conducted by consulting groups looked at senior executives and found that when they were in a state of flow, their productivity increased by 500%. That means they were 5 times more productive in flow than they were during normal, scattered working hours. However, you cannot achieve a flow state if you are constantly switching tasks or being interrupted. Research suggests that it takes a minimum of 15 to 20 minutes of uninterrupted focus to cross the threshold into a flow state. Every single time you hear a notification ping, or you quickly check a social media feed, you reset the timer back to 0. You are constantly knocking on the door of flow, but never actually stepping inside. Time blocking solves this by guaranteeing long, uninterrupted stretches of time. When you block off 90 minutes for a single task and you turn off all notifications, you give your brain the permission and the safety it needs to dive into the deep end of the pool. You effortlessly cross the 20-minute threshold, and you spend the next hour producing the best work of your life. Let us discuss exactly how to build a highly effective time-blocked schedule. The key is to design your blocks in a way that respects your natural biological rhythms. Your brain does not operate at a flat, constant level of energy all day long. It operates in waves. Scientists call these waves ultradian rhythms. An ultradian cycle typically consists of about 90 to 120 minutes of high mental capacity, followed by a necessary 20 to 30-minute period of rest and recovery. Your time block should perfectly mirror this natural biological rhythm. Do not try to schedule a 4-hour block of intense work. Your brain will completely burn out halfway through, and you will end up staring blankly at the screen. Instead, schedule a 90-minute block for your vital 20% task. During those 90 minutes, you are totally committed. Your phone is in another room. Your email tab is closed. You are practicing pure single tasking. When the 90 minutes are over, you must stop working. Even if you feel like you could keep going, you must respect the recovery phase. Take a 20-minute block to step away from your workspace, walk outside, drink a glass of water, or simply close your eyes. This recovery block flushes the mental fatigue from your brain and prepares you for the next sprint. As you build your schedule, be extremely realistic about how long things take. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make with time blocking is assuming they can complete complex projects in 30 minutes. Human beings are notoriously bad at estimating time. This is known as the planning fallacy. We always assume things will go perfectly, but things never go perfectly. A good rule of thumb is to take your initial estimate for a task and multiply it by 1.5. If you think writing a report will take 1 hour, block out an hour and a half. Giving yourself this buffer reduces anxiety and prevents your entire schedule from collapsing if one task runs late. You must also schedule your blank space. Do not pack your calendar so tightly that there is not a single minute to breathe. Life is unpredictable. You need buffer blocks built into your day to handle the unexpected emergencies and the overspill from other tasks. Leave a 30-minute block completely empty in the middle of the afternoon. If an emergency happens, you can handle it during the buffer block without ruining the rest of your day. If no emergency happens, you can use that time to catch up on emails, organize your desk, or simply take an extra break. The buffer block is the shock absorber of your daily schedule. Finally, you must be incredibly protective of your blocks. Treating your schedule as merely a suggestion is a recipe for failure. You have to treat a time block with the same level of respect you would give to a meeting with the president of a massive company. You would never look at your phone or wander off to do laundry during a critical meeting. You must give your own vital tasks that exact same level of reverence. You are having a meeting with your future self. You are investing the capital of your time into the portfolio of your success. Honor the commitment. Let me share a story of how this looks in the real world. Imagine a professional named Sarah. Sarah is an incredibly hard worker, but she was constantly overwhelmed. She kept a massive to-do list on her desk. Every day she tried to multitask her way to the bottom of the list. She would start writing a marketing proposal, but then an email would pop up. She would answer the email, then realize she needed to call a client. She would call the client, then realize she needed to update a spreadsheet. By 5 in the evening, she had touched 20 different projects, but she had not finished a single one of them. She was exhausted, stressed, and her most important proposal was still totally blank. She was a victim of the switching cost and the illusion of busyness. Then, Sarah learned the art of doing less. She stopped trying to do everything. She applied the 80-20 rule and realized that finishing the marketing proposal was her absolute vital 20%. It was the one task that would bring in new clients and grow the business. Everything else was just noise. So she abandoned the open-ended to-do list and started time blocking. Before she left work on Friday, she blocked out her schedule for Monday. She scheduled a 90-minute block from 9 to 10:30, specifically for the marketing proposal. She scheduled a 30-minute block at 11 just for processing emails. She scheduled a 1-hour block after lunch for returning phone calls. On Monday morning, Sarah did not have to decide what to do. She sat at her desk at 9 o'clock and looked at her calendar. The proposal block was waiting for her. She closed her email application. She silenced her phone. For the first 20 minutes, her brain fought the focus. Her brain was addicted to the easy distraction of multitasking, but she held firm. She stayed in the chair. By minute 25, she crossed the threshold into the flow state. The words began to pour out of her. She was thinking clearer and faster than she had in months. Because she was single-tasking, there were no switching costs to pay. There was no 40% productivity penalty. When her alarm went off at 10:30, she had completely finished the proposal. It was brilliant, error-free, and ready to send. She had accomplished more in 90 minutes than she previously accomplished in 3 entire days of frantic multitasking. The rest of her day was calm, structured, and entirely under her control. This is the incredible power of doing less. You are not sacrificing results. You are sacrificing the friction that destroys results. You are eliminating the cognitive drag that slows you down. When you stop fighting against the biological limits of your brain and start working with them, everything changes. Your brain is not designed to juggle a dozen shiny objects. It is designed to pierce through complex problems like a laser beam. You just have to give it the structure it needs to shine. The path to maximum efficiency requires incredible courage. It takes courage to ignore the 80% of trivial tasks that constantly scream for your attention. It takes courage to close your email inbox and disappear into a block of deep work. It takes courage to tell the world that you are not available for instant gratification because you are busy building something truly valuable. Society will tell you to hurry up. Society will tell you to do more. You must calmly reject that noise. You must embrace the quiet, unstoppable power of deep, singular focus. Your time is the most valuable asset you will ever possess. You can always make more money. You can always buy more objects, but you can never buy back a single hour of your life. Every minute you spend jumping frantically between meaningless tasks is a minute stolen from your true potential. By understanding the multitasking myth, you stop wasting your cognitive energy. By applying the Pareto principle, you guarantee that your energy is aimed at the right targets. And by utilizing the structure of time blocking, you ensure that the execution of those targets is flawless and deeply satisfying. Take a deep breath and look at the tasks ahead of you. You do not have to conquer all of them. You only have to conquer the ones that matter. Let the illusion of busyness fade away. You are no longer a frantic juggler trying to keep every ball in the air. You are a master architect, carefully placing one solid brick at a time to build a magnificent structure. You are in complete control of your focus. You are in complete control of your schedule. You are maximizing your efficiency by mastering the profound art of doing less. Let us continue building your ultimate life. The foundations of space, mind, habits, and time are now firmly in place. In our final chapter together, we will learn how to cement these practices into a permanent system. We will learn how to build resilience, how to handle the inevitable messy days, and how to guarantee that your new organized life lasts forever. You have come incredibly far, and the absolute best is yet to come. Stay focused, stay calm, and remember that true power is found in the vital few. Chapter 5. Building a System That Lasts. Welcome to the final chapter of your journey. Over the previous 4 chapters, we have completely deconstructed the way you live and work. You have learned how to clear the physical clutter from your environment so your brain can finally breathe. You have learned how to empty your mental tabs through the power of a brain dump, taking the heavy burden of memory off of your shoulders. You have discovered the biological reality of habit stacking, which allows you to build automatic routines without relying on temporary motivation. You have mastered the art of doing less by embracing single tasking, the 80-20 rule, and the absolute focus of time blocking. You are now equipped with the most powerful tools in the world for maximum efficiency. But having the best tools in the world does not matter if you do not know how to maintain them. Life is incredibly unpredictable. You will experience days where absolutely nothing goes according to your perfect plan. You will face unexpected emergencies. You will get sick. Your family will need your urgent attention. You will have days where you feel exhausted, and your beautiful time-blocked schedule will completely fall apart. This is the reality of human existence. The ultimate test of an organized life is not how perfectly you execute your plan on a good day. The true test is how quickly and peacefully you bounce back after a bad day. In this final chapter, we are going to learn how to build a resilient system that lasts a lifetime. We are going to replace fragile perfectionism with indestructible consistency. To build a system that lasts, we must first address the single biggest enemy of long-term organization. That enemy is perfectionism. Most people believe that perfectionism is a positive trait. They wear it like a badge of honor. They think that having incredibly high standards for themselves means they are destined for greatness. But psychologists and neuroscientists have discovered that perfectionism is actually a massive barrier to true efficiency. Perfectionism is not about striving for excellence. Perfectionism is about avoiding the painful feeling of failure. Let us look closely at the fascinating psychological research regarding this topic. A comprehensive study conducted at Tehran University involving 200 students revealed a direct and powerful link between perfectionism and severe procrastination. The researchers found that individuals who scored the highest on the perfectionism scale were the exact same individuals who delayed their tasks the most. Why does this happen? Why do people who care so intensely about the quality of their work refuse to actually do the work? The answer lies in how the perfectionist brain processes fear. When a perfectionist looks at a task, they do not just see a job that needs to be done, they see a massive threat to their identity. If they try to organize their entire house and it does not look like a flawless magazine cover, they feel like a failure. This creates extreme anticipatory anxiety. To protect you from this anxiety, your brain activates the threat detection system, triggering a freeze response. Procrastination is simply your brain freezing in the face of an impossible standard. This leads to a deeply destructive cognitive distortion known as all-or-nothing thinking. The perfectionist believes that if a task cannot be done flawlessly, it is not worth doing at all. If you plan to go to the gym for an hour, but you are running late and only have 20 minutes, the perfectionist mind says, 20 minutes is not enough time to get a perfect workout, so I will just stay home. If you plan to eat perfectly healthy all week, but you eat one piece of chocolate on Wednesday, the perfectionist mind says, I have completely ruined my diet. I might as well eat junk food for the rest of the week. This all-or-nothing mentality is the exact reason why most people fail to maintain an organized life. They start strong. They clean their whole house on a Saturday. They buy a beautiful planner. They use time blocking for 3 days in a row, but on Thursday they sleep through their alarm. They leave a coffee cup on the desk. They miss a scheduled block of deep work. The perfectionist voice in their head immediately screams, "You failed. The system is broken. You are naturally disorganized." And just like that, they throw the entire system away and go back to their chaotic, stressful life. To build a system that lasts forever, you must completely destroy the all-or-nothing mindset. You must embrace the concept of good enough. Research in cognitive psychology shows that our brains actually consolidate knowledge and build stronger neural pathways when we make mistakes and subsequently correct them. Without the room to make mistakes, your growth completely stagnates. You have to give yourself permission to be messy sometimes. Leaving one coffee cup on your desk does not mean your organizational system has failed. It just means you are a human being who was tired on a Thursday. This brings us to the ultimate antidote to perfectionism. To maintain your efficiency over the long term, you must cultivate a psychological skill called self-compassion. In a society that praises harsh discipline and relentless hustle, self-compassion often sounds like a weakness. People mistakenly believe that if they are kind to themselves, they will become lazy and complacent. But decades of scientific research prove the exact opposite. Dr. Kristin Neff, a leading psychologist and pioneer in this field, has dedicated her career to studying the profound effects of self-compassion on human performance. Her rigorous studies demonstrate that self-compassion does not lead to laziness. In fact, it leads to massive increases in resilience, emotional intelligence, and long-term productivity. When you brutally criticize yourself for making a mistake, you drain your willpower battery and increase your stress hormones. But when you practice self-compassion, you actually lower your cortisol levels and activate the brain regions associated with learning and motivation. According to Dr. Neff, true self-compassion consists of 3 core components. The first component is self-kindness. This means treating yourself with the exact same warmth, understanding, and patience that you would offer to a good friend who is struggling. If your best friend called you and said they accidentally left their house a mess because they had a terrible day at work, you would never call them a lazy failure. You would tell them it is okay, that everyone has bad days, and that tomorrow is a new opportunity. You must learn to speak to yourself with that exact same voice. The second component is common humanity. Perfectionists often feel incredibly isolated when they fail. They think they are the only person in the world who struggles with procrastination or disorganization. Common humanity is the profound recognition that suffering, making mistakes, and failing are universal human experiences. You are not broken. You are just participating in the shared human condition. Everyone struggles. Everyone drops the ball sometimes. Acknowledging this simple fact completely removes the heavy burden of shame. The third component is mindfulness. Mindfulness means observing your negative thoughts and emotions without getting swept away by them. When you realize your schedule has fallen apart, you do not ignore the frustration, but you also do not let it define you. You simply notice the feeling and say, "I am feeling very overwhelmed right now because my plan did not work out." You observe the emotion, let it pass, and then objectively decide what to do next. A fascinating study conducted in 2025 looked specifically at early career professionals and their productivity. The researchers found that individuals who practiced high levels of self-compassion were significantly less likely to experience professional burnout. Because they were not terrified of failure, they were more willing to take on challenging tasks and pursue massive goals. They did not waste hours of precious time paralyzed by a harsh inner critic. When they stumbled, they simply asked themselves, "What do I need right now to get back on track?" This is the secret to a lasting system. When you miss a day of your habit-stacking routine, do not panic. Apply self-kindness. Remind yourself of your common humanity. Then, invoke the golden rule of consistency we discussed earlier. Never miss twice. Forgive yourself completely for yesterday and put all of your energy into executing the habit today. This gentle but firm resilience is what separates highly successful people from those who constantly start and quit. You cannot hate yourself into becoming an organized person. You must support yourself into becoming one. Now that we have established the psychological foundation of resilience, we need to implement the mechanical engine that keeps your system running smoothly. This engine is a simple, non-negotiable routine that will completely change the trajectory of your life. It is called the weekly review. The concept of the weekly review was popularized by productivity expert David Allen in his famous Getting Things Done framework. It is widely considered the single most important habit for maintaining high-level efficiency over a long period of time. You can think of your daily habits as driving a car. You are steering, accelerating, and navigating through traffic, but you cannot drive a car forever without stopping for maintenance. The weekly review is your pit stop. It is the designated time when you pull over, check the engine, refill the gas tank, and look at the map to make sure you are still heading in the right direction. The data supporting the weekly review is absolutely undeniable. Research indicates that dedicating just 15 to 30 minutes a week to structured reflection can improve overall performance by a staggering 23%. Furthermore, statistics from Gitnuk's market data reports reveal that workers who engage in weekly planning achieve 42% more of their goals compared to those who do not plan. They also experience a 30% increase in their daily efficiency, which translates to roughly 12 additional hours of productive output every single week. By investing just 30 minutes on the weekend, you are buying back 12 hours of your life. That is an unbelievable return on investment. Why is the weekly review so remarkably powerful? It goes back to the Zeigarnik Effect we learned about in Chapter 2. Throughout the week, your life naturally accumulates new open loops. You have unexpected conversations. You receive urgent emails. New ideas pop into your head. If you do not actively process these new inputs, they will quietly pile up in your subconscious mind until the psychic tension returns and destroys your focus. The weekly review guarantees that the accumulation of mental clutter never reaches a critical mass. It also engineers a psychological phenomenon known as the fresh start effect. Most people only experience a fresh start once a year, on January 1st. They make New Year resolutions, feel a burst of motivation, and then slowly fade away. But when you conduct a weekly review, you engineer a fresh start 52 times a year. Every single Sunday or Monday becomes a clean slate. The mistakes and inefficiencies of the previous week are examined, learned from, and then completely left behind. You enter the new week with clear intentions and absolute control. Let us break down exactly how to perform a masterful weekly review. You must schedule this session in your calendar as a non-negotiable time block. Most highly efficient people choose to do this on Sunday evening to prepare for the week ahead or on Friday afternoon before they leave the office. Choose a time when your environment is quiet and you will not be interrupted. You will need about 30 to 45 minutes. The weekly review consists of 4 distinct phases. The first phase is the physical reset. Before you can organize your mind, you must reset your environment. Spend the first 10 minutes rapidly applying the Ohio rule and the 5-minute tidy. Walk through your workspace and your home. Throw away the garbage that accumulated over the week. Put your pens back in the drawer. File the loose papers that are sitting on your desk. Empty your physical inbox. You are restoring your environment to its optimal zero-clutter baseline. This sends a powerful signal to your brain that the chaos of the past week is officially over. The second phase is the mental clear. You must get everything out of your head. Open a blank notebook and perform a comprehensive brain dump. Write down every single thought, worry, and task that is currently bouncing around in your mind. Think about the conversations you had this week. Did you promise to send someone a document? Write it down. Did you realize you need to buy a birthday gift for a family member? Write it down. Are you worried about a strange noise your car is making? Write it down. Empty every single mental pocket until you feel that profound sense of cognitive relief. The third phase is the calendar audit. This is where you look backward and then look forward. Open your calendar and look at the previous week. Did you accomplish your vital 20% tasks? If you did, take a moment to celebrate that victory. If you failed to complete a task, practice your self-compassion and ask yourself objectively why it did not happen. Were you interrupted too often? Did you underestimate the time it would take? Use this reflection as raw data to improve your future planning. Next, look at the upcoming week. This is where you reclaim your power. Review your newly written brain dump list and process it using the do it, defer it, delegate it, and drop it method. Take the vital tasks and assign them to specific time blocks in your new weekly calendar. Schedule your deep work sessions when your energy is highest. Schedule your meetings. Schedule your rest and recovery blocks. Most importantly, anticipate the friction. If you know you have a highly stressful meeting on Wednesday afternoon, schedule a buffer block immediately after it so you have time to decompress. You are building a protective structure around your productive hours. The fourth and final phase is the logistics plan. This is where you handle the mundane details of life so they do not drain your willpower during the week. Take 5 minutes to plan your meals for the next several days. If you know exactly what you're eating on Tuesday night, you will not waste your decision-making battery trying to figure out dinner after a long day of work. Lay out your work clothes for Monday morning. Ensure your bags are packed. When you handle the logistics on Sunday, you give your future self the ultimate gift of a frictionless Monday morning. When you finish these 4 phases, you physically close your planner or shut down your computer. You take a deep breath. You are completely ready. You do not have to worry about what tomorrow holds because the decisions have already been made. You can spend the rest of your evening fully present with your family, deeply relaxed and completely free from anxiety. The weekly review is the unbreakable glue that holds your entire organizational system together. As you implement these practices, you are going to witness a phenomenon that is almost magical in its power. It is the mathematical reality behind all massive success. We call it the compound effect. The concept of the compound effect was popularized by author and success expert Darren Hardy. The premise is incredibly simple but easily overlooked. Radical, life-altering change is not the result of occasional, massive, heroic efforts. Radical change is the result of small, smart choices executed consistently over a long period of time. Action plus consistency plus time equals extraordinary results. Human beings are naturally impatient. We want instant gratification. We want to organize our desk once and be highly productive forever. When we do not see immediate massive results from our new habits, we get discouraged and quit. But the compound effect teaches us that the greatest rewards are delayed. Think about the concept of compound interest in finance. If you invest a small amount of money every month, it does not look like much at first. But over time, the interest builds upon the interest, and the growth curve suddenly shoots straight up, creating massive wealth. Your daily habits work the exact same way. Let us look at the mathematics of tiny organizational habits. Imagine you commit to saving just 10 minutes a day. You save 10 minutes by using the Ohio rule, so you never have to search for your keys. You save time by using the 5-minute daily tidy, so your workspace is always ready. You save time by writing down your top 3 goals, so you do not suffer from decision fatigue. 10 minutes a day feels completely insignificant. It is barely a drop in the bucket. But let us apply the compound effect. 10 minutes a day multiplied by 365 days in a year equals 3,650 minutes. That is over 60 hours of pure, uninterrupted time handed directly back to you. What could you do with an extra 60 hours a year? You could read a dozen books. You could learn the basics of a new language. You could spend a massive amount of quality time with your children. You could sleep an extra hour every week. Now consider the compound effect of time blocking your vital 20%. If you dedicate just 1 single hour a day of pure, uninterrupted flow state to your most important goal, the results over a year are absolutely staggering. 1 hour a day of deep writing will yield an entire published book in less than a year. 1 hour a day of deep studying will make you an expert in almost any field. You do not need to work 12 hours a day to achieve greatness. You just need to show up for the small, consistent actions. Every single time you choose to put an item away instead of putting it down, you are casting a vote for your new identity. Every time you choose to single task instead of multitask, you are rewiring the physical structure of your brain. These micro decisions seem invisible in the moment, but they are slowly building an unstoppable momentum. The compound effect is always working. It is either working for you or it is working against you. A bad habit compounds into chaos. A good habit compounds into maximum efficiency. The choice is entirely yours. We have reached the end of our journey together. Let us take a moment to look back at the magnificent structure you have built. You started by recognizing the hidden cost of physical clutter. You learned that a messy environment creates a massive drain on your mental energy, increasing stress and destroying focus. You took control of your space by adopting the Ohio rule, handling items only once and committing to the 5-minute daily tidy. You transformed your physical environment into a sanctuary of calm and clarity. Then you turned your attention inward. You learned about the Zeigarnik Effect and how unfinished tasks create painful psychological tension. You mastered the art of cognitive offloading by performing a comprehensive brain dump. You learned how to sort your tasks using the do it, defer it, delegate it, and drop it method. You utilize the 5-minute fiction to trick your brain out of procrastination and into a state of massive momentum. You closed the mental tabs that were slowing down your internal supercomputer. Next, you discovered the biological reality of habit formation. You abandoned the myth of 21 days and embraced the truth of the 66-day learning curve. You stopped relying on the fleeting spark of willpower and started building automatic systems through habit stacking. You attached your new, tiny behaviors to existing daily anchors, creating a seamless chain of productivity that requires zero ego depletion. After that, you elevated your strategy by mastering the art of doing less. You recognized that multitasking is a dangerous illusion that destroys the quality of your work. You applied the Pareto principle, realizing that 80% of your massive results come from just 20% of your tasks. You learned how to ruthlessly protect that vital 20% by utilizing the structure of time blocking, defending your schedule, and entering the highly coveted flow state. Finally, you learned how to make the system last. You rejected the paralyzing trap of perfectionism and all-or-nothing thinking. You embraced the profound power of self-compassion, allowing yourself to bounce back from failure with kindness and resilience. You implemented the weekly review, dedicating 30 minutes to reset your environment, clear your mind, and strategically plan your future. And you anchored your belief in the unstoppable force of the compound effect. You now possess everything you need to organize your life for maximum efficiency. The knowledge is in your hands, but knowledge alone is only potential energy. The true power lies in execution. It lies in the quiet, unglamorous moments when you decide to take action. It lies in the moment you choose to stand up and clear your desk when you would rather sit on the couch. It lies in the moment you choose to face your to-do list with courage, instead of hiding from it in fear. You are capable of extraordinary things. You have a unique brilliance inside of you that the world desperately needs. But that brilliance cannot shine if it is buried under a mountain of physical and mental clutter. By organizing your life, you are not just becoming a more productive worker, you are becoming a freer, more peaceful, more powerful human being. You are removing the friction so your true self can soar. Do not wait for the perfect moment to begin. Do not wait for a magical Monday morning or a new year. The perfect moment is right now. Pick one tiny action today. Throw away one piece of paper. Write down one goal. Practice 1 minute of self-compassion. Let the dominoes start falling. Let the compound effect begin its beautiful work. You are building a masterpiece, one small, intentional choice at a time. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with me on this journey. If this audiobook brought value to your life, please hit that subscribe button to join our community for more inspiring and life-changing audiobooks. Keep growing, keep organizing, and I will see you in the next one.